Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the stream. We're live. Let me get this keyboard out of the way. How's everybody? I thought about voting for Mastery Pack Guardian. What's up, Static? Welcome to the stream. What is going on here? I feel like I'm off kilter more than normal. But how's everybody doing? We are here. Yes, please vote. They're fun. It's just a little something fun. We are doing the 2025 wrap up. That means I will be going through. I mean, we're not going to spend too much time on them, but we're going to be going through each one of our tier lists, and I say "our" because Nate was also part of these tier lists, but he's no longer available for our year-end review, which is okay. He's got other stuff going on, so we're gonna do it live, and we're gonna talk this one out with you guys. Also, I have like a best of little thing I put together. If you're following me on Twitter or whatnot, you've seen that. We're gonna go through it, and I want to talk about what I think was the best of Flesh and Blood in 2025. But go ahead and throw a vote on the poll. What was the best FAB set in 2025 for yourself? And I'll reveal mine later. So we're gonna start out with a box of Super Slam. My last box of Super Slam, actually. See what we can get, and then we're gonna go into the tier list review. I can say now officially that the tier list for I just keep thinking pen for compendium is a go, and we're gonna have a new bud coming in to help me out and talk through the Majestic tier list. We're gonna have a lot of Majestic 57 or something like that. I'm sure we'll be able to group some up and throw them in their own ranking quickly, but we got our work cut out for us in compendium, that's for sure. Heroic Pose, Story Beats, and Punch Above Your Weight. Hey, C-Max. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Currently, we're sitting at 57% for high C's. 0 votes for Mastery Pack. Can't say I am all that surprised at the moment for that one. What do we got here? Got a rainbow foil, 2 rares. It's been a while since we had a supplemental set. The M tier list is gonna take forever. It might, yeah. It might. It might. Prime the Crowd. Where's that first Majestic? We got a super rare here. Prime the Crowd, rainbow foil. So who's playing in an RTN next week? Let me know. Sound off. Or actually, rather this week. I do have one. And then the rest of mine locally are at the end of the month, which is kind of weird. But that's how it dropped. So we do that. Ooh, very nice. I was just about to say, I think I have decided on Earth. And so, boom. So then we get the cold foil. How fitting. Cold foil channel. Very nice. Put that there. Not too shabby. But last, yeah, cracked bobble. These are, I'm guessing that is Kasai Striker. Yeah, there you go. That's, I would have guessed right. No. Let's do this. Very nice. Kasai is a solid choice at the moment. But yeah, I'm probably gonna go Earth. I haven't decided if I want to do Verdance or Florian. I know Florian is kind of a, I won't say he's a throw, but like Verdance is definitely the stronger pick. Even though I think Verdance is a little bit more targetable now. But she didn't really take too large of a hit. She took a hit, but not too bad. The best way I heard it put is that Florian, you have to have your ability online to win, which is true. With Verdance, it's like, it's nice to have sometimes, right? Those extra pings add up, but it doesn't necessarily have to be online to win with Verdance. And after playing her a bit, that's true. Gotta narrow down to 2 static, eh? All right, all right. All right. Got a rainbow foil. Yeah. Got a tough nut. Wind up the crowd. Super rare. Sadistic scowl. Yeah, I don't know. It would be super interesting to see what the RTN results look like. The meta feels like kind of not, I won't call it like wide open, but I wouldn't be so surprised if we, the couple callings that we've had and stuff, just, either Hong Kong was a little small or, it just seems like there is, some things to be found out, or at least, what happens. What's going to happen in those datas. Jason said he's going to play KO and don't convert. I remember you winning a Pro Quest last season, though. I think winning the event that you went to converted. Is that the definition for converting? Angelic Attendant. I think KO is going to probably put up pretty decent numbers at a local level. I think you're not entirely wrong about his issues at larger events. His weaknesses show up, when you're playing 10, 15 rounds. But when you're playing like a 5-round RTN and a top 8, roll to win, man. Spin to win, eh? It's definitely a thing. You can just run hot, and he's got big numbers. So Wires Charm. Roll them scabs, yeah. Turns out when you don't miss on scabs, good things happen. That is for sure. Rise of Encore. I want to see what RKO does at a local level. You know, like he's like hitting top 8s and stuff now and callings. And it's like, man, if he can do that, in a calling, I wouldn't be surprised to see him on the leaderboard come next Monday. Cut a long story short, or maybe even Lyeth too. Lyeth was like 9th in Hong Kong, I think, and he was like pretty close in at the other calling. Where was that? I don't know. He's been putting up some numbers, so you know it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. I won't be surprised if there's some big bully and energetic impact double super rare pack. It's interesting that we got Cold Foil Majestic. I think I'll be interested to see if the Super Slam model continues in Compendium. And by that I mean shifting value, I guess, into Cold Foil Majestics. It's kind of interesting how that has played out, kind of like how we talked about on the last time we were live, or during the market minute that we did 2 weeks ago or whatever, before Christmas. Ooh, I think I saw something shiny. Yo, I did. I saw something shiny. Woohoo! Underhanded cheat. There we go. This is a nice hit. I take these. Man, what is going on with my... Get a top loader here. I don't know. I think Jason doesn't like this guy. Although it's the same guy. Tough Nut main now. There you go. He might get something really spicy. I got a bully tactics. But as I was saying, we got a couple packs left, and then kind of talk about what I was thinking. Well, Super Slam had a very, I guess we would have, not rest in peace, but thinking back to the market minute, this would be definitely, not the market minute, the buy list. This is something Ted reading chat and saying my name. Nate and I would have definitely talked about is that Super Slam was kind of an interesting, obviously super rares are a big change, right? And they said it was a one-off. And but they also switched around kind of how the boxes are collated a little bit. All right. So we got two cold foils, two pretty good cold foils. But what I was trying to say here is that so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Majestics. One of them is a rainbow foil. And basically what this has done is you know, and we talked about it on the last live stream where we see like 1,000 non-foils sold, or 200 non-foil Majestics on TCG Player at a time, right? And a lot of these are that way. Even cards that are very playable, like Blade Follows Blood, or Blood Follows Blade, whatever which one it goes. cards that are just like meta relevant, really aren't moving in price that much and have sold a ton. So, and I think that's a direct, it's a direct reason or the effect of just having a way more non-foil Majestics in the set. You know, even if you look at like Overcrowded, which is like the classic, this is not nowhere near Shelter from the Storm, but Overcrowded is that generic that like, oh man, okay, it blocks for more than 2. Obviously it's printed 2, but it can be more than 2. It has Ambush. It's a really strong card. But just the way the quantities look on TCG Player, maybe that price doesn't move very fast. There's just a lot of them out there, right? Everybody got their play sets. And I think this set they designed to kind of insulate themselves from non-foil Majestics being super spiky. Yeah, that's my theory, at least. I think that's what maybe we're looking at here. And then what they did is so that, you know, Majestics are very common or more pulled, right? Again, we have 9 Majestics pulled in this box, 8 non-foils, 1 rainbow foil. But we do now have cold foil Majestics. Of really, if you look at it, the most playable cards are cold foil Majestics, right? Outside interference, you know, so on and so on. And that really kind of shifts that, you know, that value to those cold foils, right? In that bling. And I think those are, price-wise, are lagging a little bit at the moment on some of them for their rarity. Well, we'll have to see how that catches up. And long story short is that does this model, does this new way, this new version of a FAB box continue in Compendium? Now we know that cold foil pull rates are up in Compendium, so that gives us maybe a little hint that it's possible that we continue to see this, on top of, you know, the pull rates being super high for cold foils because we have a lot of armor, we have a lot of weapons that maybe are cold foil as well. We'll have to see on that one. So anyways, that's kind of my diatribe on Super Slam in general, is that it was interesting that they did a kind of a new version of a box. And yeah, we'll see if it continues in Compendium. I think it would be super interesting if there's a bunch of cold foil Majestics in Compendium as well. And kind of looking forward to it a little bit. Okay, let's jump over into the review. I need to pop out the chat. Let's pop out the chat. Then let's pull up the chat. The pack size changed? Yes, that's very true. That is very true, Static. All right, let's do this. Let's do... Wait, where'd it go? Okay. Bring that back. All right. Hopefully this is working. Boom, we're good. I lost my border, but that's okay. Let's get the chat back. So many windows. All right, so we're looking at best set of the year, Super Slam. I don't care what the poll says. I don't know about that. All right. So as we do, we used to do this in a podcast format, but now I'm going to do it live. Kind of reviewing where we sat on each one of these sets. Again, you know, we're never going to be batting 1,000 on these, but it is fun to kind of look back and see where we got it wrong and where we got it right. obviously, I think the wrongs stick out a little bit more than the rights. But if we start off with Hunted came out in February, I guess, just like Compendium will. And yeah, so let's just start from the top. Shelter of the Storm, yeah, that one was like, that's like the gimme of all time, right? Super easy. We also got Kiss of Death, Tarantula Toxin, Devotion, Never Dies, Jagged Edge, Provoke, and Oath of Loyalty. So I think there's 3 notable misses in the banger slot. I think Provoke and and that's obviously going to be Devotion Never Dies, Jagged Edge, and Provoke. I don't know if you could call Oath of Loyalty a banger. It's definitely been a very played card. It's upwards of, I think it's, it's been $10 to $20 to $25 most of the year, and it still is. So, I mean, we can call that one a W. Tarantula Toxin, yeah, it wasn't, again, a very playable card, a very played card. But maybe, it wasn't, I don't know. It depends, right? I would say that's a banger as well. Just blame all the bad predictions on Nate. Yes, this is Nate picked all of these, obviously. I think, Kiss of Death also, it's going to have its time. I think, now that Slippy's got an armory deck, also, Slippy is like pulling that card upward as well. Marionette is obviously very meta. So Kiss of Death, obviously very good. Jagged Edge, when Dromai comes back 2027, Oath of Loyalty would be a banger. Yeah. Yeah, I think Oath of Loyalty is like right there. I think Oath of Loyalty is a banger. I mean, if we're going off of like playability and how much this card's been played, yeah, it's right up there. Obviously, nothing touches Shelter on value wise, although the reprint announcement of Shelter has brought the value of Shelters down quite a bit. I think it's like $50 or $60 now, maybe even dropping further than that. Jagged Edge, I think, has potential to still be a banger. Just got to get Warrior that meta. I'm hoping Compendium helps out Warriors, and Provokes. Obviously, Provoke. I know when I get them in on the TCG Player Store, I sell them. Obviously, it's a blue, it's a block 3, it has really good text, but it's one of those cards that maybe isn't a banger. This Steelers is actually pretty good overall. Yeah, I kind of when I did my pre-review, Static, I think we did a really good job with this one. If we drop down to slaps, I think we did a good job. Maybe you probably pull. I think Dragon's Blood has been a 3 of in Syndra, the whole time. So very playable card there. Under the Trapdoor, we're probably a little high on that one. I think this gets played in Marionette. Obviously, Marionette lagged behind quite a bit, but now with that, it's his meta, and since we're reviewing it right now, I guess we got this one right. Smile. Hunter's Clave, Pain in the Backside, obviously very good. Sharpened Senses, again, I think this one, you can put these 3 warrior cards, like, you can put these 3 warrior cards in the same bucket, right? Is that I think these all have good text, and when we see warriors come back into the meta, I think these cards will follow right along because they're just that good. But yeah, I think we did pretty good there. Okay, I see you. Let's see if there's any that jump out to me that's just like should be just flat higher. Throw Dagger should probably be a little bit higher. Pretty good. This one's held some value. This one's been playable a bunch. And again, I think you know, it's a split class. It probably has dual uses, and it has. So yeah, that one maybe could have been in slaps. Note on Hunter's Clave. Hunter's Clave is like $11 now, so it's like probably where it should be. It did require a reprint to get there. But I think at the time of doing the tier list, we just didn't know how short printed it was going to be, right? So obviously there. The rest of these cards just are like either locked to one hero, like Ring of Roses, spur locked. You know what? I don't know why we have this spur locked and adorable. I think we were just kind of being nice to Brody, in which, like, you know, being nice to Brody's all good. Not saying that I want to be mean to him now, but yeah, this card is just a meme and should probably be in Slay tier, right? But yeah, I don't think we missed on any of these. We even said Anaphylactic Shock was down in Slay tier. It definitely hits that mark, even though Assassins were like super good all year and Gravy came out. This card just doesn't see any play, right? Yeah, I think we did a pretty good job. Maybe Call could be down in Adorable again, just being didn't set only in CC, but Call definitely had its time to shine in LL at the end of the year. That's for sure. Dual Threat is, yeah, okay, I see you. Maybe slaps here. But yeah, overall pretty good on this one, guys. Hunted, kind of looking back through these Majestics, man, Hunted kind of went pretty hard, huh? Yeah, it's fun looking back at them. But let's jump down to the next set. All right. All right, High Seas was the next set, guys, in 2025. And yeah, I think this one, you know, fully being objective here and not pumping myself up too much. This one we missed on a little bit more than the Hunted, I think, for sure. Command and Conquer, or Command and Conquer, Conqueror of the High Seas plays like a banger. It is a banger, but you know, we do kind of do these on value, and yeah, it just, there's so many versions of this card printed. You got the gold versions, you got the EA versions from Nationals, you got the rainbow foil version in the set, you got the regular, and then it just seemed like, you know, that really affected how really affected the quantities on this card overall. So yeah, value wise, not a banger. Loan Shark, I would like to call out and point out to Nate. I don't think he's watching because he's at his armory tonight, but I think if I remember correctly, I fought to put Loan Shark in the banger tier, and Nate kind of scoffed at me, but we came full circle on this one, boys. As soon as Golden Tipple got banned, yo, I'm gonna take that W. Sea Legs, Codex of Frailty, Arcane Compliance. I don't know why Arcane Compliance made it. I'm gonna tell you straight up, I don't know. I think the card is very, very good, but Kano never really came to be, you know, as like a real meta issue, and it just turned out people just ignored Kano, and Arcane Compliance is just sitting around doing its thing, sub $10. But you know, you keep an eye on that. You know what I'm saying? Sea Legs banger for sure. Yeah, Sea Legs just didn't. I think Sea Legs is a very good card. It was definitely played in Gravy quite a bit. I know the Brute boys really like themselves some Sea Legs as well. It's a very strong card. I think this card will just hang around. You know, keep an eye on this card. I don't think we've talked about it on the Market Minute for a while. So I don't really know where the quantities are, but I think there's a lot of them out there still. And until we get something that just like gives you that discard on a stick, this card is just going to be viewed as like too situational and like not, you know, kind of like not top pick when it comes to your generics. But it is a very solid card. It blocks for 3, attacks for 6, and action points are at a premium. So, all right. Let's see. Let's drop down to the slaps tier a little bit. Rest in peace, Chart the High Seas. Yeah, card definitely slaps. Value never really got there. You know, overall, High Seas was opened a bunch, and I think that really affected a lot of these cards. Also, shout out to Everbloom Life in this. Everbloom Life probably should have been up in banger tier. That card was $30+ at a time when Earth was like jamming. So, you know, but it's fluctuated back down to 10, $15 or something. Does Gravy still run sea legs? He does not run sea legs anymore because just the way the deck had to move around the bands, around Golden Tipple. Once Golden Tipple kind of reduces your discard outlets, you really can't run it as much as you previously did. So maybe if we get a color of Golden Tipple back, sea legs come back. But it definitely was in Gravy for a minute. Tick the Barkeep Barbed Barrage also really hasn't seen much play. Obviously, we had Azalea LL. Was it right before? It was either right before or just right after High Seas. And Azalea really was like looking to play this card. So this one's kind of in the bin right now, and it's just waiting there for the next Ranger to use it. All right. Okay, I see you tier. Looking through. Oh, well, before we go to look, okay, I see you. Give no quarter and slaps. Yeah, this card, I think this card might see its way back into Gravies. I know I've been starting to put it back into my Gravy deck just to, you know, try to get some of that high roll back that we lost with Chart. So maybe that one comes back, but that one not really slaps at the moment, but it saw a little bit of play in the very beginning. Burn Bear. That card slaps. I don't know why that one wasn't in slaps. Value wise, again, I think maybe that's why, right? Because it's locked to Verdance, but every Verdance plays it, and Verdance is very good. So you could argue that it goes up a tier here. We definitely have a lot of Puffin cards and a lot of Marlin cards in this tier, which makes sense. Hero locked, and you know, it just really depends on if the heroes are playable. Herald of Seacom, I guess we probably got this one wrong. I would say Riddle with Regret. Yeah, I mean, they're all kind of right there. I don't know. I think maybe some of these could have been brought down to Adorable. Speaking of Adorable, we got Jolly Bludgeoner, Blood in the Water. Return Fire, man, people were so high in Return Fire, and I don't think Azalea was even running it when she, I don't know. Yeah, it's a card that just really didn't see much play, and I'll be interested to see if it sees play when Rangers come back. I don't know. It's yeah, it's a pretty sketchy card. I think the biggest one here is, if you guys remember back to the tier list when it dropped, is that Nate and I kind of flamed the amulets quite hard. Obviously, you know, if we're talking about a value tier list, yeah, Diamond and Panalamu Pamalamu amulets are, yeah, we saw some crazy prices on these. They're still quite valuable. I think the diamond amulet is like nearly $40 still. Yeah, and I think we said this at the time when we did this, is like, if they short print these, they will be expensive. Guess what, guys? They short printed them. They are incredibly hard to pull. Just because, you know, they're like 12 of, or like 8 or whatever they are, 8 of 50 some majestics, 40 some majestics, right? And you need the right one. You know, if you pull that ruby amulet, you're like, no. And then the Marvel versions, you know, being 1 of 100, you're just not gonna see those, right? So we were probably a little bit too harsh on them. I still hold my opinion that I don't think they look very good. I don't like the pale, like I don't like the amulets sitting on a like thing that you see at a jewelry store. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be as harsh as I was back in the day, but like, they're just not, I don't know. You know what I mean? Give me something like, you know, have you guys seen the new eye? The reprint of the eye, where the eye is underwater and you can see like a sunken ruins behind it and stuff, and it's kind of like floating and like hooked on a thing. Just do something like that for these, man. I think the art, like the pedestal stand, takes up too much of the art box on the card. But you know, that's just, art is subjective, and I am being subjective. Yo, I thought I talked about this a little bit sooner, but shout out Midas Touch, guys. We put this down in Adorable. It turns out we should have maybe thought of a Kasai meta, because we have arrived to the Kasai meta, and Midas Touch is one of those cards that was kind of short printed. So it was Midas Touch, Jolly Bludgeoner, Gold the Tip, Gold the Tip. There's another one. I'm missing one, but those, Barbed Barrage was one. I think there was like 5 that just showed up less. Midas Touch was one of them. Long story short, turns out tokens don't have a cost. I believe this is the reason why Midas Touch is like $30 some. Market Minute, I looked at it at the end of October, early November, and it was at like 15 to 20, I believe. And I was like, hey, there's only 14 of these left. Well, now there's like less than 10, and we're into the 30s on that one. So if you don't have your Midas Touches and you really want to attack them, you really want to attack those Kasai, watch that. Yes, Loan Shark, you're right. Loan Shark is the one that I'm missing. Loan Shark was another one of those kind of short printed cards. But Midas Touch is now popping off. You know, and honestly, for Kasai, now with Bloodfile's Blade, this might be a nice little tech card. You know, if you're playing a hero that has trouble clearing allies, right? Slate here, Bam Bam. Yeah, I think we kind of nailed on this one. Deny Redemption's just like whatever. Yeah. So overall, good. I would say we did better on Hunted. Again, this High Seas had some weirdness with some short printing, some things like that. So I thought, shout out, you know, before we move on, shout out Moray. Man, I could have swore she was going to be a contender for the list, and she has never even touched a sleeve, man. I don't think any Gravies ever played her. So, okay, I see you, probably too high for Moray. But I thought that +1 was really going to come into factor. But it turns out Gravy just, because he can't block, and I think, you know, we did these before, playing the decks and seeing the decks and how they're constructed. Like, it's just, Gravy just has no time to do any setup with her, unfortunately. Maybe that changes a little bit with Compendium. I don't know if it can, because then he would just be super annoying. But yeah, Moray, she never even touched a sleeve. All right, guys, let's jump to a Mastery Pack. Yes, we're doing Mastery Pack review. Not much to look at here since it was a little small set. But you know, I think we did all right with this one. You know, Fearless Confrontation slammed it in the banger tier. Yeah, $25, $30. It's right up in there. I think I mentioned it the last time I talked about it on a market minute. And I think, you know, I want to point out that the rainbow foils are super hard to pull on these. So, you know, if you need them rainbow foils, might want to look into them. So Fearless, obviously, that's our obvious one, right? That's your shelter, so on and so forth. Slaps, ley line. Oh yeah, that's right. This reminds me, we did put the L's in this as well because there's only a couple of them. Shane comes in and says base slaps. Yeah, I think, you know, if we're, again, it's weird, right? Because every tier list that you see online is all about how playable it is and how good the card is. We kind of walk the line of like, you know, is the card going to cost a lot? Or what's the cost of the card? And in FAB, generally, those two things directly correlate. I would say on base playability, it's pretty good. I think it's going to be a card. Base of the Mountain is going to be a card where it's just always going to be there. I would say, yeah, it's a pretty strong card. It's definitely, they're protecting themselves against like dominated, you know, heroes that can dominate. You know, this slotted into Gravy's deck, right? This gets you get some block out of those legs and put some allies if you get caught with a bunch of allies in your hand for sure. Going back to slaps, Seismic Eruption, I think it's still pretty good. I don't even know where the value of these cards are because did not open a lot of this set actually, and have not really taken in a bunch of these cards in trades and things like that either. So I think this one we're pretty good on. Test of Iron Grip is an okay, I see you. I think I agree with that one. Again, Valda, kind of some very Valda specific cards. I think we got the generics right though, I'll say, as I'm looking for something to say on this one. So if we look at them, you know, Fearless, Call for Backup, Base, and Captain of the Guard. Call for Backup's very good. I think Call for Backup is going to be one of those cards that you kind of always look at. I'm actually looking at it for a Florian deck that I might play in my ITN season just to try to get my Decompose sped up. Not sure it's going to make the list, but it might. Also, Vincent plays this. I think if Vincent ever becomes meta, this card will go up as well. And then Captain of the Guard is just whatever. It's just there, dude. I don't know. It just really hasn't seen its time. But it is a blue. It is block 3. So, yeah. Guardians still poop. So nobody wants these cards. Well, you know, Static, can't really argue too much about that. Speaking, I see, yeah, Shane's in the chat. I thought Daily Grind, or that's not Daily Grind. Which, Shane, you were like super high on one of these cards. Was it Daily Grind? It was like the mill cards off the top of your deck. You were pretty excited about that card when it came out, but it just really hasn't seen its place yet. What am I don't know how to wrap this one up, guys, to be honest. I think more cards we need more cards for Guardian. It's not a Guardian time yet, but it could be Guardians time in the near future, right? It's all coming back around, you know? Anyways, all right, let's move on. Day 2 of calling with it. There you go, dude. Get your daily grinds. Let's jump down. All right, we're into the last set here. Super Slam. What do we got going on here? Show of Strength, yes. Pretty good. Pretty good value on that card at the moment still. Overcrowded. So yeah, we were talking about this before I started the review. They changed how sets. Super Slam really did not follow the previous sets this year and previous sets, you know, in general. Lots of non-foil Majestics pulled, right? Tonight's box, like I was saying, if you've been here since the start of the stream, 9 Majestics, 1 rainbow foil, 8 non-foils. That is more, that is like 2 to 3 more than we've gotten on previous sets. And we talked about this when we looked at the quantities on TCG Player. Non-foils through the roof, right? Some of these cards sold 1,000, right? I haven't really ever seen that before. So where am I going with this? I'm going with this, like, kind of messes up the value a little bit on these cards. Just to where, like, I think we could almost shift this tier list to like playability. It's going to mess up some of the cards a little bit, but if we look at like playability and like how strong the cards are, you know, Show of Strength, Overcrowded, very good. But I don't know what we were thinking on Tempest here. This must be a Nate one. Nate's not here to defend himself, so he's going to catch a stray. Katsu's still out there waiting for his time. But I think, I don't know, are there any Katsu players in the chat? Let me know if Tempest is really a banger card. I think I've heard it was. But yeah, obviously Painful Passage was put into the banger tier because I spoiled it. So yeah, we just threw that one in there. It is obviously not a banger. It's a solid card. You know, it should be like adorable or okay, I see you, obviously. Shane's pointing out that Bloodfall's Blade should be in the banger. Yeah, if we're talking about playability and just how good it is, definitely a banger. Light Up the Leaves, very good. Shane's also saying that Tempest is also very good. So maybe Nate wasn't so far off on this one. Outside Interference. This is actually one of the most expensive cards in the Majestic slot in Super Slam. Leave Them Hanging. I think, again, the heroes just are not really they just did not catch any of the meta. And I think until we get some meta, like, you know, we get some staying power in the meta from these heroes, these cards are just going to suffer a little bit. But Leave Them Hanging and Outside Interference are obviously, you know, as RKO and Life go, these cards go, and I think they're very strong. We got Reckless Stampede in here, another very good card as well. But yeah, Parched Terrain was kind of interesting. I think Nate talked me into this one too. I don't know. I think we might have missed on Parched Terrain a little bit. I think it has been played in some Fang decks. Obviously, Fang just doesn't have a meta, so you know, it is what it is. We let's see, dropping down, man, a lot of these cards, and it's like I said in the last time we did the Market Minute live. I have the replay up too if you want to go watch it. I think a lot of these Super Slam cards are very forward looking. They just kind of scream forward looking to me, right? Battlefield Blitz, Hit the Gas. You know, these cards have good effects and strong text. They just need the hero to like come in and like get that extra juice. hopefully Compendium brings that in. Static is saying that Parched is in his sideboard. Okay, so yeah, that's you know, so maybe I don't think it slaps here, but maybe okay, I see you, right? We could drop that one down. And then I think on Adorable and you know, I think Gallow should be probably dropped down to Adorable. Deleting on head effects is strong, but it's just not, you know, not something that is really needed right now. And then the rest of these are like pretty much on. I think maybe Channel's in the right spot, but it's, again, it just needs its like way in, and like maybe if Fealty is like quite strong, it can give you a slight edge against Fang. I don't know if that makes, I don't know if you get back to 50-50 if you're playing this in Florian, to be honest, against Fang. So yeah, I don't know about that one. And then Slate here, yeah, pretty straightforward with this one. Hunter or Hunted actually made some waves and actually made Arachne a playable deck. So maybe Slate here was a little bit too low for this card. Maybe it's an Adorable or okay, I see you, because it is hero locked, obviously. Adaptive Mold. It was pointed out to us after the fact that this was a base card, which is quite strong. But again, it's Teklo. Teklo's getting a ton of support in Compendium. So maybe in the future, this card can claw its way out of Slate tier. So keep an eye on that. And then take the bait. Yeah, don't take the bait, guys. Unfortunately, I think I was a little bit higher on this one. Nate was like, dog, this is bad. And I am begging LSS, please. I don't want to do another Majestic tier list where we just slot the Riptide spec into Slate tier. Please. Please let us put the spec somewhere other than Slate tier. Oh, anyways. I don't know if we put them all in Slate tier, but it feels like it's every set. Just like dump that sucker into Slate tier, man. I don't know. All right, guys. So that is the year in review of our tier list. These are super fun. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, even though Nate is not available to do it, I do have somebody lined up to come and do the tier list with me for Compendium and maybe for future sets as well. So yeah, that'll be fun. The tier list will return in 2026. So look forward to that. I always have fun doing them, and it seems like you guys enjoy them as well. All right, let's jump down to my best of 2025. This is just my opinion. And I'll explain how I came to each one of these and kind of just like how I worked it out. But again, it's just an opinion. I think, you know, as everything, these can be subjective, right? But I kind of want to talk through like what was the best hero of the year, what was the best main set of the year, and this, you know, and this isn't like my I know sometimes I do like things where it's like, oh, it's always Runeblade stuff. Obviously I'm trying to be a little bit more objective about this, but these are just my opinions, like I said. And let's jump to it. Hero. Best hero of 2025, in my opinion, Gravy Bones. I think I might get some. It depends. I might get a little bit of scoffing in the chat on this one, and maybe in the comments. If you guys think I'm wrong, let me know in the comments how wrong I am about it being Gravy Bones. But I think, if we look at it overall, Gravy Bones was the hero that has made the biggest splash. He is the hero of 2025 that people have consistently told me throughout the year. I got into Flesh and Blood because of Gravy Bones. He looks super cool and super fun. I play board state decks. I play Magic, so this board state deck works for me. I think he was the hero of the year. I kind of looked at this like, you know, what would have been the hero of last year? Obviously, I think you have to say it's Aurora. Aurora came onto the scene and did a lot of like positivity for Flesh and Blood. I think Gravy did the same thing, although, you know, if you jump online at all, you're going to hear a lot of hate. I think most of the time you hear people being pretty sour about him, but I think a good villain is a good thing for the game, and it gets people talking about it. It's Necromancer, which is like fans of the game wanted to see him for a long time, and it was pretty exciting to finally get a Necromancer. He's also a pirate, which is like, you know, it was hype all around. So yeah, cool theme, everything kind of like hit it out of the park on this one. As Shane puts in the chat, meta warping. Yes, he's definitely been meta warping, and like I said, there's a lot. You can go online and find a lot of chat about Gravy Bones. Again, good villains make for interesting times, right? I want to hear it in chat. We got a poll going for this one, and sound off in chat what you voted for. Best main set of 2025. Right now, as we are live, High Seas at 59% is winning. Hunted coming in at 35%. Mastery Pack has got 0, and Super Slam has got 6%. So, yeah, before I reveal my choice, it looks like chat is going with High Seas, which makes sense. Gravy Bones was in High Seas. All right. My best set of 2025 in Flesh and Blood was the Hunted. Now, I'm not just doing this to be cheeky and be like, well, how can the best hero be Gravy Bones, but then the best set be the Hunted? You know what? This set, I didn't really engage in this set at all. Really not my thing, right? Warriors aren't my deal. Ninja's really not my deal. Assassins, again, not my deal. But when we look back and we look at what the Hunted did, I think it it did better than it like kind of blew me away. My expectations were blown away by this set. We just come off of Rosetta, and it was Rosetta again. I will keep saying this. I think it's like an all-time set, like up there and like discussions with like the GOAT set. And then the Hunted comes out, and we got meta heroes like right out the gate. Syndra drops, she's winning stuff right out the gate. Marionette instantly gets a following. I should say. And Slippy is in this set as well. Kind of really defined 2025 if you think about it, right? Like, yes, there's a lot of Gravy talk, and Gravy did define the second half quite a bit, but the Hunted is like hanging in there, and it's still defining it. Syndra just got bans. Arachne just got bans. Fang is like right there. He's pretty close to being a real deck, like top level deck, and you know, he could be moving into RTN season. So I think like if we just look at like how solid of a set is and like what would make it the best, I think it's the Hunted. Let's check in on chat. It's all about the money. I don't, you know, and there definitely was, there was, you know, there's some of that, but I don't think it's all about the money. I think I just explained a lot of points that's not all about the money. But he forgets about the gold packs. Yeah, that's a good point, Shane. And actually, it's one of the things I want to talk about on why I put the Hunted over the High Seas. I think the gold packs were super cool. They were an evolution of the Mistfield gold pack, which was just 2 cards, right? Either the super rare Marvel New Moon or the Rainbow Foil New Moon. That was a very good test. Gold packs, awesome evolution. I think it was very cool and thematic to put all the pirate cards in the gold packs as gold foils. Very cool. Unfortunately, that means when you make that decision, you put a bunch of like never playable cards in any constructed format in there, right? Any card that says Treasure Island is like, you know, it looks cool. I mean, a lot of those cards are beautiful cards, and I have some of them. And like, I'm happy to have them in my collection, but it just like, I think there has to be hits or misses. And I think the misses should be like fringe play, not fringe, like they should be playable at least in a constructed format, right? Like I want to see some of those. I would like to see at a minimum some of those cards being played in Silver Age, right? So I think that's why, you know, I won't say that's the reason why the Hunted got the nod, but like that's kind of why I didn't really look at the gold packs as like a deciding factor when it came to Hunted versus High Seas, because I think you guys are saying it right now, and the votes are proving that it definitely was a two horse race on this one, guys. Let's be honest. It was definitely a 2 horse race. It was either the Hunted or High Seas, and I gave the nod to the High Seas, or sorry, to the Hunted on this one. Print run of 0, it retains its value. Yeah, it's super unfortunate that the print run got scuffed in London. That was kind of talked about, that the print run got a little scuffed. Even the cards that we got were kind of scuffed, right? There seemed to be some issues. You know, some of the Marvels, the edges and stuff will look like they're cut with a butter knife, so that's unfortunate. I'm glad to see that was contained to the Hunted only. We were supposed to get some more of the Hunted. I don't think I really saw that locally, unless that more of was the Japanese print coming to the States. I don't know if I don't know about that though. But yeah, the print run thing was unfortunate for sure. And so yeah, I think that's what I think about the Hunted. I'm a little bit surprised by myself, right? When I really broke it down between High Seas and the Hunted, even though I engaged in the High Seas more and had more fun opening High Seas, to be completely fair. I still think the Hunted was the best set of 2025, which is like says something, right? Because the High Seas was very good and it was their marquee set of the year. And I think the Hunted kind of falls in line with Rosetta as one of those low key sets, but really solid throughout. All right. I don't know why this is plural. I only have one card. Best card of 2025. Well, yeah. Yup. As I looked at it, as I kind of broke it down, and again, I looked at this as more of like a impact, right? Like what was the best impact, what card put in the most impact? Obviously Gravy Bones is a card himself, but we're not going to talk about heroes doing impacts and stuff. Shelter of the Storm, it's got to be the top card, right? We're talking impact. We're talking, how much it was played. It's going to be Shelter, right? I had a little bit of a troubled 2025, as you would say. As mentioned previously, she was a little pricey. Card went nuts. Nate and I did our best to be like, hey, if you can get these at $60, you just you should buy these at 60 if you want to play at all this year. And that proved to be correct. And Syndra was big, Flick Knives was big, so Shelter was obviously right there, right? It's a super solid card. We're getting a reprint of it in Compendium, so them prices are already coming down. I think this card's going to be very affordable and very gettable once Compendium drops. So, I mean, again, I didn't pick this card solely on price. No, it was more about just like how much was it played. Like, what was the most played card this year? I bet you it's probably Shelter of the Storm, right? I think if Talishar would release those stats, it's probably Shelter, right? And it's just a super solid card, right? If you would say what was the best card of 2020 for Fab, it's Tunic. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I put this my metrics together. And yeah, chat saying Rootbound. Well, actually, yes, that's not a bad runner-up. But yeah, Shelter, if we're talking about just like, Majestics and up or whatever, Shelter's definitely my best card of 2025 in Fab. And then I put, this one's a little bit more personal. I think, I wanted to, it's like, okay, how do I round this off? How do I want to end the night? How do I want to end the stream? How do I want to end this video? And I guess, yeah, I said that these weren't like personal choices, but this one is my personal favorite event from 2025. And it's really what Fab's all about. Play the game, see the world. I can't stress enough, if you haven't been to a Calling or a Battle Hardened, and it's like, that's perfectly fine. But like, if you have a Battle Hardened or a Calling coming close to you within a drive or whatever, go to it. I'm telling you, you won't regret it. Even if you're just playing side events, that's all I do anymore. I don't even play in Callings. I don't play in the main events at all. I just hang out with the people in the side events, and it's always a good time. So, when they say like play the game, see the world, even if that see the world part is a 3-hour drive to Columbus, like I'll be doing in January, I'm telling you, the community is great. This game has a lot of really cool people to play with, and just go out there and do it. You won't regret it. So with all that being said, what was my personal favorite event? London. Pro Tour London. I've never been to London before. So like on the personal side, it was very cool to see the sights. I got a couple days in London. I got to see some very cool stuff. Transit was awesome. The event was insane. Like, there wasn't an open seat on Sunday. Like at 10 o'clock, there was no seats. Like, you couldn't find a chair unless you were playing in an event. It was like hard to find a chair. The hype was real. The Hunted just came out. People were super pumped about the meta. Aurora was like doing her thing. It was just like a super positive event. All the events I went to are positive. But this one just had a different vibe to it. It was very cool. And yeah, it was definitely my favorite event. I hope that, because being at the event, I don't really get a lot of exposure to the live coverage. I hope the live, the games, from what I've seen, the games were very good, all that. So I think Pro Tour London was like definitely by far my favorite. Don't say Auckland. No. I can't say Super Mario. I didn't really enjoy Kansas City calling, but that's a personal thing. Except crack shuffle play using the entire box. Yeah, that's a very cool side event that they were doing where you would open 3 more packs. But yeah, I think yeah, London, yeah, I'm just trying to think back about it, but when I think back to 2025, it is definitely the event where I have the most fond memories of. I did not go to Singapore. I went to Auckland. I went to Philly. Dude, shout out Philly though. I know I got some flack. I got some flack on Twitter the other day when I said, my 2025 recap and Worlds, it was Auckland, London, Philly, and I got some oh, don't tell me Philly was the best one. And obviously there was some shade in that comment. But hey, I'll tell you right now, again, Philly was pretty good. It was they had that market right down the road was super cool to see. Philly is very Midwestern, East, it's East Coast, but it feels very normal to me, right? So there wasn't much excitement about the city. But again, even if you aren't excited about the city, the Flesh and Blood was always top notch, and it wasn't at Worlds too, right? So PT Yokohama is going to be the best. Yeah. Shane, the only reason that I tried to I tried to come up with a reason why how I could fit in Worlds. So I was maybe I could do best of Worlds to Worlds, and then I could say the best event was Osaka. Unfortunately, I said, you know what, let's do it. We gotta keep it to 2025, so I can't bring up Osaka, but I'm doing it anyways. Osaka was great, and I am super looking forward to Yokohama as well. Cherry Blossom season in Tokyo. I can't wait to get back to Japan. Hit me, put a comment down below if you're going to Yokohama. Let me know. We'll see you there because I'm super pumped for that and looking forward to it. But yeah, that's my best of 2025. My best of 2025, guys, in Flesh and Blood. And I'm excited for Compendium. I'm excited for the events that are coming up, going back to London, and then also going to Yokohama. And then before that, doing a quick jog down to Columbus. So if you're going to any of those, feel free to come up and say hi. Always like to meet and talk to the fans. So, but that's going to do it tonight, guys. I hope you guys had a good year in FAB and a good year in life in general. And Happy New Year's. And we'll check you next time in 2026. Peace.